Good afternoon. Welcome to Social Emotional Development. I hope that you're doing great, young people. I say hey to everybody. God is great and greatly to be praised. So for the next 4 weeks, we will be dealing with the subject dealing dealing with loss, whether that's loss of a parent, loss of a relationship, loss of a job. Everybody has a different experience in that area. So I think it's important to understand what loss is, how to recover from a loss, and then how to move on from that loss. It's not always easy, especially when a loved one passes away, a parent, an aunt, a grandmother, a sister, a cousin. It's not easy to move on from that, and it's not easy to even recover from that. But I'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But I just want to go over the definition first. Webster's dictionary has several definitions. It says the act of losing a possession or an instance of losing. And the last definition is the harm or privation resulting from loss or separation. So those are the three definitions that how Webster defines what a loss is. So loss comes, as I said, in different forms, right? And is it easy to move on from losing a loved one? No, it's not. And I want to talk a little bit about my life. I lost both my parents. I lost my mom in 2004. And it happened quickly and strangely. I had moved to Florida, Century, Florida, because I have family down there. And she died 2 weeks later. And I had a lot of guilt for a while, for years, because I thought it was my fault. Like, oh my gosh, I moved, because a lot of things were going on at the time in my family, and for me to separate myself from all of that was going on, I decided to move because I could not take the pressure. So I moved away, and then 2 weeks later, my mom passed away. So, and several things had led up to her being sick. I can't say that she was like dying, because she wasn't. I know that she wasn't feeling good. She was in the hospital, and then it was just like she was gone. And till this day, I really can't even tell you what my mother passed away from, because I don't know. All I know is that she went into cardiac arrest and they couldn't revive her. So I don't know what took her away. Like if the doctors did something. I know my mom was very sad about a lot of things, not depressed, but sad about different things like that was going on in the family and stuff that was going on. And I don't know, maybe stress just took her away. I don't know, but all I know is that when it happened quickly. And I just had so many questions, young people. I just couldn't understand, like why my mom? You know what I mean? I didn't get it. And I became depressed. I remember being at my aunt's house and not wanting to go anywhere, not wanting to do anything. And even though I had people around me, I had a lot of love. It wasn't enough, because I'm just like, my mom is gone. I don't know how to process that. I don't know how to deal with that. And I remember asking my aunt questions like, how do I move on? Do I still go to church? Do I still serve God? Like, what do I do? And that may sound like silly questions, but honestly, young people, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what to do. My world had just, it crumbled. And like I said, I held a lot of guilt for a lot of years, because I thought it was my fault that my mom passed away. I wasn't there. And I eventually got over that, because I had to go to grief counseling. I went to grief counseling, and I had to have an outlet. I had to have somebody that didn't know me and understood the process of grief, because it is a process, because you go through denial, you go through guilt. It's just, you go through different stages. So I had to process all that process all of that. I can't say that I still wasn't dealing with the after effects of my mom's death. Even after grief counseling, I was. But now, because like I said, she's been gone since 2004. Now, that pain, that initial pain that I felt when she passed away, and even years after that, um, I've learned to one accept that my mom is gone. I still don't like it, but I know that God knows best, and he allowed her to go for a reason, whatever that reason may be. But that that inner pain that no one can take away except God. Like, I don't feel that type of pain anymore. But when I do think about my mom, like, I'll laugh. There's sometimes I'll cry. I'll see a certain television show, and I think of my family, and I think of how we just used to laugh and talk, and I do cry. And I can't say that it doesn't hurt, because it still hurts. But that initial pain that I felt when I first lost her, that pain is not there anymore. Because over time, young people, when you have a loss like that, whether it's a mother or an aunt or a sister, over time, God mends your heart. He heals you, you know? So, because you can't stay in depression, you can't stay stuck in time, because you know what I mean? You still have to live after you experience that type of loss. You still have to go on with your life. It's important, because if you don't, then you will miss out on what God has for you, and what he wants you to do. So you have to be able to move on from that, and not allow that particular loss, a loss of a loved one, to overtake your life and keep you stuck in time. So if you thought that was deep, what, five, six, seven, about 2008, so 4 years later, I lost my dad. Now, this was a little bit different, because I watched my dad deteriorate. I watched him just go from like this vibrant individual to just to basically nothing. Like, I remember visiting my father in the nursing home, and he was just skin and bones. Like, I could literally see like his bones. Like, he was just, because he stopped taking his medicine at one point. And I believe the effects of my mother's death had a lot to do with his passing. But I watched my father deteriorate, and then again, I was back in that place again. Like, man, like, how do I deal with this? Like, I'm watching my father deteriorate, and then when I would go to visit him at the nursing home, he would say things like, "Gee, where are you gonna have my funeral?" And what, and that would hurt me to my heart. That would hurt me to my heart, because I'm just like, I've already lost my mom. Like, I don't want to lose my dad too. So, but he did pass away in 2008, and again, I was experiencing that pain again. Like, here we go again. Now I got to go through this all over again. Just, lost my mom in 2004. Now my dad is gone. So it wasn't easy. It was not easy. I believe that I did the best that I could for my parents, but still, in the back of your mind, when you lose your parents, you still have that little thought in your mind, like, when all of that is going on, like, did I do enough? Was I the best daughter? Could I have done more? You know what I'm saying? But like I said, over time, God heals your heart. And again, you can't stay in that stage of, okay, I'm going to be depressed and I'm crying. It's like, yes, you're going to cry. You're going to go through those different stages of grief, but you can't stay stuck there, because you got to move on. And then you have to think about, okay, would my aunt or my mom or my sister or my brother want me to be depressed? But they want me to be sitting in the house all day long and, just allowing life to pass me by? They wouldn't, because you still have to live. You still have to do what you have to do. You still have a calling on your life that God needs you to fulfill. You still have dreams and visions, that you want to come to pass. So you can't stay stuck in that place. So whoever, whatever you're dealing with, young people, youth, if you're dealing with a loss of a loved one, a parent, an aunt, or a grandmother, my message to you today is yes, grieve, cry, go through those different stages. Sometimes you'll be in denial, like, it never really happened. I dealt with that with my mom. I was just like, I just want to see her because I was coming from Florida. Like, I couldn't process it. All I wanted to do is just see her. So when I saw her laying in that casket, it was just like, yeah, it's like still that denial was still there. I was like, no, that's not my mom. And then I kind of like looked over her, and then I seen her hands. And, of course, your mom and dad. You know what they look like. You know their features. And I was like, yeah, that's her. That's her. Like, it just it was hard. It was hard. It sucked. That's 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 the best way that I can put it. Like, it literally sucked, and I wouldn't wish that type of pain on anybody. But for those that are going through it now, especially through this coronavirus, people are losing loved ones. They're like instantly. You know what I mean? It's happening so much, and so I pray for those that have already lost loved ones to the virus or whatever sickness, that God is going to heal your heart and he's going to get you through it. You know why? Because I've been through it and I know what it is to lose not just parents. Like, I've lost, uncles, I've lost aunts, you know. I can't say that it was the same pain, because it's different when you lose a parent, like your mother or father. But the loved ones that I have lost, my aunts and stuff, like, my heart hurt, because I'm gonna be honest with you, young people. Like, death for me, I don't take it. I don't take it well. I don't. I've lost friends for over the maybe. I lost one last year. I lost one about a month ago. So I don't take it well. I don't process it well. But I've learned to deal with it a little bit better because I can't stay stuck there. Because I don't believe God wants us to be miserable and He doesn't want us to stay stuck. So that is the session for today. I hope you got something out of it. Our key scripture is going to be, if you have time to read it, and if you don't have a Bible, look it up online, is John 11, verse 35, where it just says, Jesus wept. Jesus wept. And if you read the backstory of that, it was talking about Lazarus, when Lazarus died. So I chose that. So if you get a chance, read the verses above that. But that's our key verse. Jesus wept. Jesus understands when we're sad, when we're going through, when we're holding things in our heart that we can't even express to nobody else. He understands that. He sees every tear that you cry. And just that Jesus wept, it may seem simple, like, oh, Jesus wept. No, Jesus cried. He wept, right? He was sad in his heart because Lazarus had died. So that lets me know Jesus understands every emotion that we go through, especially when we lose someone that we love. I pray that you got something out of this. I'll be back next